The stars looked peaceful that night. Captain Daesung stood on the bridge of his ship, the horizon's edge, and watched them twinkle against the black void of space. 5 years had passed since Earth joined the Galactic Union. 5 years of peace, trade, and discovery. 5 years of proving that humanity belonged among the stars. Captain, we're receiving a priority message from Earth Command. Taemin called from the communication station. The young officer's face was bright with the excitement that came from working in space. He still loved every moment of it. Daesung walked over, his boots making soft sounds on the metal floor. Put it through. The holographic display flickered to life. Admiral Park's weathered face appeared, but something was wrong. The Admiral's expression was grim, his jaw tight. Daesung felt his stomach turn cold. Captain, we have a situation. The colony on New Jeju has gone silent. No communications for the past 6 hours. We need you to investigate immediately. New Jeju? Daesung's heart started pounding. 40,000 people lived on that world. His cousin's family had moved there 3 years ago. What happened? We don't know. The last transmission was cut off mid-sentence. Get there fast, Daesung. I pray we're wrong about this. The transmission ended. Daesung turned to his crew. Hana, his medical officer, was already standing. She understood what this might mean. They all did. Set course for New Jeju, maximum speed, Daesung ordered. The ship hummed as the engines powered up. Space folded around them as they entered faster than light travel. The journey would take 12 hours. 12 hours of not knowing. 12 hours of hoping they were wrong. Daesung couldn't sleep. He paced his quarters thinking about the galaxy they had joined. Earth was proud to be part of the Galactic Union. They had shared their music, their art, their medical knowledge. They had helped negotiate peace between 2 warring species just last year. Ambassador Yuna had been celebrated for her diplomatic skills. But respect? That was harder to earn. The other species looked at humans with barely hidden amusement. They called Earth the soft world. They laughed at how humans kept animals as companions. The warrior races, especially the Vral Empire, considered humanity weak. Prey species that had somehow learned to build spaceships. Daesung had heard the whispers at the last council meeting. The Vral commander had sneered at the human delegation. You care too much, he had said. In the galaxy, caring is weakness. Only the strong survive. Yuna had responded with grace. Perhaps caring is what makes us strong. The Vral had laughed. Now as his ship raced through the darkness, Daesung wondered if that laughter had meant something worse than mockery. The 12 hours crawled by. When they finally dropped out of FTL near New Jeju, Daesung knew immediately that something terrible had happened. Smoke rose from the planet's surface in dozens of places. The orbital defense platforms were nothing but debris. Reading no life signs from the main settlement, Taemin said, his voice shaking. Captain, the city it's burning. Take us down, Daesung ordered. His voice sounded calm, but his hands were gripping the armrest so hard his knuckles were white. They landed outside what had been the colony's capital. The city was ruins. Buildings had been reduced to rubble. Scorch marks covered everything. The smell of smoke filled the air even through their environmental suits. Hana led the medical team through the destruction. They found bodies. Thousands of bodies. Men, women, children. The colonists had tried to run, tried to hide. It hadn't mattered. This was systematic, Hana said quietly, her scanner in her hand. They didn't just attack. They hunted. They made sure no one escaped. Daesung felt something he had never felt before, a cold rage that settled in his chest like ice. This wasn't war. This was murder. Captain! One of the security team was waving from a collapsed building. We found someone alive. They ran. Under a fallen beam in a space barely large enough for a small body, they found a child. A little girl, maybe 7 years old, covered in dust and blood. She was clutching something in her hand. Hana carefully pulled her out. The girl's eyes were wide with shock. She didn't cry. She didn't speak. She just stared at nothing. It's okay, Hana whispered, though it wasn't okay and might never be okay again. You're safe now. What's your name? Jiwoo, the girl finally whispered. In her hand was a data chip. Daesung gently took it. May I? Jiwoo nodded. Back on the ship, they played the recording. The bridge was silent as they watched. The footage showed Vral soldiers moving through the colony. The colonists were begging, crying, asking for mercy. Children were hiding behind their parents. The Vrel commander's voice was clear on the recording. Mercy is for the weak. Your species asked to join the strong. You're not strong. You're prey. Let this be a lesson to all soft species in the galaxy. Then came the order. Kill them all. The recording showed what happened next. Daesung wanted to look away but forced himself to watch. They all needed to see this. They all needed to understand what had been done. The final image was a human man, a colonist speaking directly to the camera before he died. They begged them for mercy. The Vril laughed. Tell Earth. Tell them we tried. Tell them we were human until the end. The recording ended. Taemin was crying quietly at his station. Hana was holding Jiwoo, who had fallen asleep from exhaustion and shock. The entire crew stood in stunned silence. Daesung saved the recording. Then he opened a channel to Earth Command. Admiral, we're too late. New Jeju is gone. All 40,000 colonists massacred by the Vrel Empire. I'm sending you the evidence now. There was a long pause. Understood, Captain. Return to Earth immediately. The Council needs to see this. With respect, sir, the Council won't do anything. They'll say this is natural selection. They'll say we should have been stronger. Captain, I'm not disagreeing with orders, Admiral. I'm stating facts, but I'm coming home anyway, because Earth needs to see this. Earth needs to know what the galaxy really thinks of us. The Admiral was quiet for a moment. I'll prepare for your arrival. Daesung stood and walked to the front of the bridge. He looked out at the burning world below. New Jeju had been a peaceful colony. Farmers, teachers, artists, families. They had hurt no one. They had only wanted to live among the stars, and they had been slaughtered for being human. Something shifted in Daesung's mind. Humanity had tried to be civilized. They had tried to earn respect through peace and culture. They had believed that showing kindness and empathy would prove their worth. The galaxy had taken that kindness for weakness. Prepare the ship for departure, Daesung said quietly. We're going home. As the horizon's edge lifted from the dead world, Daesung made a silent promise. To Jiwoo sleeping in Medical Bay, to the 40,000 dead below, to every human who believed the galaxy would accept them as equals. The galaxy wanted to see what humans really were. They wanted to test humanity's strength. They were about to find out what happens when you hurt something that has forgotten how dangerous it used to be. Humanity had climbed to the top of Earth's food chain by surviving alongside monsters. They had forgotten that lesson in their rush to be civilized. It was time to remember. The beasts of Earth were sleeping, but not for much longer. Earth's Capitol building was full of angry voices. Daesung stood before the emergency council meeting, Jiwoo at his side. The little girl refused to leave him, so he let her stay. Maybe they needed to see her. Maybe they needed to understand what this was really about. We must appeal to the Galactic Council, one minister said. Show them the evidence. They will condemn this action. They won't, Ambassador Yuna replied sharply. She had just returned from the council station, her face tired and angry. I already showed them the recording. Do you know what they said? The room fell silent. They said New Jeju should have had better defenses. They said weakness invites attack. The Vril representative suggested we should be grateful they only destroyed one colony. Yuna's voice was shaking. They're not going to help us. To them, we're just prey that learned to talk. The argument continued. Some wanted diplomacy. Others wanted to hide, pull back all colonies to Earth's solar system. A few wanted revenge, but they were quickly shouted down. Earth's military was small, designed for defense and peacekeeping, not war. Daesung listened to them argue for 2 hours. Finally, he stood up. There's another option, he said. Everyone turned to look at him. What option? The defense minister asked. Project Fenrir. The room went very quiet. Several ministers exchanged nervous glances. The prime minister leaned forward in her chair. That project was shut down 20 years ago. It was deemed too dangerous. Dangerous to who? Daesung asked. We made it for exactly this situation, when Earth needed protection and the galaxy wouldn't give it. A side door opened. An older man walked in wearing a white lab coat. Dr. Sung-ho looked exactly like his pictures, except older. He had been young when he designed Project Fenrir. Now gray hair touched his temples, but his eyes were still sharp. I invited Dr. Sung-ho to this meeting, the Prime Minister said quietly. He's been monitoring the situation. Doctor, please explain to everyone what Project Fenrir actually is. Sung-ho walked to the center of the room. A holographic display activated above his hand. When Earth joined the Galactic Union, we realized something important. Every successful species in the galaxy has weapons, armor, or natural advantages. The Vrel have scales like metal and strength beyond ours. The Quilix have natural camouflage. The Drexen can survive in vacuum. He paused. Humans have none of these things. But we have something else. Something unique in all the galaxy. The display showed images. Wolves running beside humans. Horses carrying warriors into battle. Dogs guarding homes. Eagles hunting with falconers. For thousands of years, humans survived on Earth by making partnerships. We didn't just hunt the apex predators. We befriended them. We domesticated them. We turned the most dangerous creatures on our world into our companions, our partners, our family. More images appeared. Bears, lions, sharks, raptors. Then the images changed. These creatures were larger, stronger, enhanced. Project Fenrir was designed to ask a simple question. What if we brought our oldest friends back? What if we woke up the creatures we left behind when we reached for the stars? A minister spoke up. You're talking about weaponizing animals. That's barbaric. No, Hannah said, standing from her seat. She had been silent until now. He's talking about partnership. I've read the research. The enhancement process doesn't create weapons. It creates intelligent beings capable of working with humans as equals. Sung-ho nodded. Exactly. The genetic modifications increase intelligence, strength, and adaptability. But the key is the bonding process. Humans and these creatures can form connections that go beyond training. It's almost telepathic. No other species in the galaxy has this ability. Why not? Someone asked. Because every other species either enslaves or fears their world's predators. Only humans ever thought to make them friends. The Prime Minister stood. Show them the facility. Sung-ho tapped his controls. The hologram changed to show a massive underground complex. This is the Genesis Vault. It's located under Siberia, built into an old military base. Inside are genetic samples and cryogenic specimens of Earth's greatest predators. The display showed row after row of massive tanks. Inside each one, Dae-sung could see shapes. Large shapes. We have dire wolves bred back from ancient DNA and enhanced. Cave bears. Great cats. Raptors with modified intelligence and... Sung-ho hesitated. And the Titans. What are Titans? Yuna asked. The largest creatures Earth has ever known. We'll need them if the Vril send their full fleet. Before anyone could ask more questions, Taemin burst into the room. Sorry, but you need to see this now. He activated the main display. A broadcast was playing from the Vril Empire's public channels. The Vril commander from New Jeju stood before cameras. Weak species of the galaxy. Witness what happens to prey that forgets its place. The human colony of New Jeju has been cleansed. But this is just the beginning. The commander's eyes seemed to stare directly through the screen. In 3 months, we will arrive at Earth itself. We will broadcast the destruction of humanity's homeworld to the entire galaxy. Let it be a lesson: the strong survive, the weak perish. This is the way of the universe. The broadcast ended. Jiwoo whimpered and grabbed Dae-sung's hand. He knelt down and hugged her. It's okay, he whispered. They're not going to hurt you. I promise. But he was looking at the ministers when he said it, looking at them with a question in his eyes. The Prime Minister took a long breath. Dr. Sung-ho, how long would it take to activate Project Fenrir? The creatures can be awakened in a week. Training the human partners will take longer. If we have 3 months, he calculated quickly, we can be ready. It'll be close, but we can do it. And you really believe this can work? That humans and animals can fight together against a war fleet? Sung-ho looked at Dae-sung, then at Jiwoo. Ma'am, humans survived every danger Earth could throw at us because we never fought alone. We made packs, tribes, families. We brought other species into those families. It's what we do better than anyone else in the galaxy. He turned back to the Prime Minister. The Vril think they're hunting prey. They're not. They're walking into the territory of Earth's apex predators, and we're about to remind the galaxy why you don't threaten a pack. The vote was quick. 15 minutes of debate, then hands raised. The decision was unanimous. Project Fenrir was activated. 3 days later, Dae-sung stood in the Genesis Vault. The facility was enormous, carved from solid rock and reinforced with metal. Hundreds of scientists moved between the cryogenic tanks. The air was cold enough to see his breath. Colonel Minji met him at the entrance. She was a hard woman with scars from Earth's corporate wars before the world united. Captain, welcome to the vault. I've never seen anything like this, Dae-sung admitted. Most people haven't. Come on, I'll show you what you'll be working with. She led him to a tank. Inside, something huge was beginning to move. As the cryofluid drained away, Daesung saw it clearly. A wolf, but not like any wolf alive today. This creature was massive, easily the size of a horse, with muscles like steel cables under thick fur. Its eyes opened and they were intelligent, aware. This is the first of the Fenrir class, Minji said. Enhanced dire wolf. Strength 10 times a normal wolf, intelligence approaching human level, and when bonded with a partner they can share thoughts and feelings. The wolf stood up on shaky legs. It looked at Daesung and he felt something strange, a presence in his mind, curious and cautious. It's looking for a partner, Minji explained. They won't bond with just anyone. It has to be mutual trust. Daesung slowly approached the tank. The wolf watched him. He thought about Jiwoo, about New Jeju, about all the people depending on him. The wolf's eyes seemed to understand. What's your name, big guy? Daesung asked softly. A feeling came into his mind. Not words exactly, but a concept. Strength, loyalty, pack. I think he just told me his name, Daesung said, surprised. Minji smiled. Then congratulations, Captain. You just made your first partner. All around the facility, tanks were opening. Creatures were waking up, and with them humanity's oldest alliance was being reborn. The Vral wanted a war. They were going to get one, but not the kind they expected. The training facility was chaos in the best possible way. Kyung-soo dodged as a massive wolf leaped over his head, landed, and spun around to face him. The creature's teeth were bared, but this wasn't aggression. This was play. Again! Kyung-soo shouted, grinning. The wolf, who he had named Bayek, charged forward. They had been training together for 6 weeks now, and the bond between them grew stronger every day. Kyung-soo could feel Baek's emotions as clearly as his own. Right now, the wolf was happy, excited, ready. Colonel Minji watched from the observation deck. How many do we have fully bonded now? Her assistant checked the tablet. 347 wolves, 112 bears, 96 great cats, and 200 raptors. The raptor teams are doing especially well. Show me. They walked to the flight deck. Outside, under the open sky, something incredible was happening. Pilots sat in cockpits of small fighter craft, but they weren't alone. On the wings of each craft, raptors clung to special harnesses. These weren't the small dinosaurs from ancient times. These were enhanced, enlarged, deadly smart. Yoonji sat in her cockpit, her hands on the controls. But she wasn't just flying. She was coordinating. 3 raptors rode with her craft, and she could feel their thoughts mixing with her own. When she banked left, they understood why before she finished the turn. When they spotted targets, she knew immediately. Target range active, the range officer called. Begin exercise. Yoonji pushed her throttle forward. Her craft shot into the sky, and she felt the raptor's excitement like electricity in her mind. Below, holographic targets appeared, moving fast and random. She dove. The raptors released from her wings at precisely the right moment, gliding toward 3 separate targets. Yoonji followed the lead raptor in her mind while also tracking the other 2. It felt natural, like having 3 sets of eyes all feeding into one brain. The raptors struck their targets perfectly. Yoonji pulled up and they called out to her. She swooped low and they caught her wing harnesses climbing back aboard. 98% accuracy, the range officer reported. That's a new record. Minji nodded approvingly. The Vral won't know what hit them. But not everything was going smoothly. In the medical bay, Hana was frustrated. She had been studying the bonding process for weeks, trying to understand how it worked. The science was clear. Humans released certain chemicals when emotionally connecting with animals. Those chemicals triggered responses in the enhanced creature's modified brains. A feedback loop formed, creating what was essentially a telepathic link. The problem was explaining it to the Galactic Council. They don't understand, Yuna said, reading the latest message from the Council. They keep asking if we've enslaved these creatures. They can't grasp that it's a partnership. Because they've never had one, Hana replied. Every species in the galaxy either fears their predators or dominates them. They literally cannot imagine cooperation between species where one isn't subservient to the other. Well, they better learn quickly. I've been monitoring Vral communications. A new voice joined them. Jae-hyun, the xenolinguist, entered carrying a datapad. The Vral aren't just planning to attack Earth, they're selling broadcast rights. What? Yuna stood up so fast her chair fell over. The Vral have turned this into entertainment. Species across the galaxy are paying to watch the destruction of Earth. Live, real time. The Vral are calling it the lesson of the prey. Hana felt sick. They're going to broadcast genocide as entertainment? They already started promoting it. I intercepted their advertisements. They're using footage from New Jeju. Jae-hyun's voice was shaking with anger. They're monsters. Yuna was quiet for a long moment. Then she smiled, and it wasn't a pleasant smile. Good, good? Hana asked. Yes, good, because now the whole galaxy is going to watch. They're going to see what happens when you threaten humanity. They're going to see what we really are. 2 months into training, something went wrong. A team was practicing rescue operations on a simulated Vral prison ship. The mission was simple: get in, find the prisoners, get out. But the simulation went badly. A fire broke out in the training facility. Real fire, not simulated. Kyung-soo and Baek were inside when it happened. Smoke filled the corridors. The heat was intense. Kyung-soo could barely see, his eyes watering from the smoke. Then he felt Baek's presence in his mind. Not panic, calm certainty. The wolf knew where to go. Kyung-soo stopped trying to lead. He let Baek guide him through the smoke. The wolf's senses were sharper, his instincts better in this situation. Kyung-soo trusted him completely. They found 3 trainers trapped by fallen debris. Baek helped clear the path while Kyung-soo pulled them free. Together they led everyone to safety. Later, sitting outside while medics checked them over, Kyung-soo hugged Baek's massive neck. You saved us, boy. Baek's response in his mind was simple. Pack, family, protect. That night, the story spread through the entire facility. It wasn't about humans controlling animals. It was about 2 species watching each other's backs. The bonds grew stronger after that. Everyone trained harder. The deadline was approaching. With 3 weeks left before the Vral fleet arrived, Jae-hyun made a breakthrough in his research. He burst into the command center, startling everyone. I found their weakness, he shouted. Colonel Minji grabbed him by the shoulders. Slow down. What weakness? The Vral. I've been studying their culture, their military tactics, everything. They have a fundamental belief that shapes everything they do. Anything that serves another being is inferior. Slaves, pets, partners, doesn't matter. To them, cooperation is weakness. We know that, Minji said. What's the weakness? They've never fought an enemy that uses cooperation as a strength. Their entire military doctrine is based on individual combat prowess and dominance hierarchies. They don't have team tactics, not real ones. They just have strong individuals working near each other. Jae-hyun pulled up battle recordings of the Vral fighting other species. Look, see how they fight? Each warrior is trying to prove themselves. They barely coordinate. Now imagine them facing an enemy where every unit is perfectly synchronized, where humans and animals move as one organism. Minji watched the recordings. They'll adapt once they see it. Maybe. But by then it'll be too late. Their first instinct will be to target the animals, thinking they're weapons or tools. When they realize the creatures are fighting alongside humans as equals, it'll confuse them. That confusion is our advantage. 10 days before the invasion, they mounted a rescue mission. Jae-hyun had intercepted intelligence about a Vral prison ship holding human captives from smaller colony raids. Among them might be survivors from early attacks. Minji picked her best team, Kyung-soo and 20 other wolf-bonded soldiers. They approached the prison ship in a stealth craft invisible to Vral sensors. Remember, Minji whispered as they prepared to board. Fast and quiet. In and out. They breached the hull in silence. The wolves went first, their enhanced senses detecting guards before human eyes could see them. The soldiers followed, trusting their partners completely. Kyung-soo and Baek moved through the corridor like shadows. When they encountered a Vral guard, Baek hit him from one side while Kyung-soo struck from the other. The guard went down without a sound. They found the prisoner bay. Inside were 40 humans, thin and scared but alive. One of them, a young man, looked up as the door opened. Hyunwoo? Kyung-soo asked, recognizing him from the mission files. Yes, the man whispered. Who are you? Earth Defense. We're here to take you home. Ji-woo? Is my sister alive? She is. And she can't wait to see you. The rescue took 14 minutes. 14 minutes to infiltrate a Vral ship, rescue 40 prisoners, and escape without casualties. When they returned to Earth, the celebration was huge. But more important was watching Ji-woo run to her brother, crying and laughing at the same time. Dae-sung watched them reunite and felt his resolve harden further. This was what they were fighting for. Not revenge, though that was part of it. They were fighting for families, for the right to exist without fear, for a galaxy that understood that strength came in many forms. 5 days before the invasion, every bonded team gathered in the main hangar, hundreds of humans and their partners, wolves, bears, cats, raptors, and others. The air hummed with anticipation. Dae-sung stood on a platform where everyone could see him. Ji-woo stood beside him and Hyun-woo held her hand. In 5 days the Vral will arrive, Dae-sung began. They think they're coming to destroy prey. They think they're going to show the galaxy that humanity is weak. He paused. They're wrong. A wolf howled. Then another. Soon the entire hangar echoed with the sound of hundreds of creatures calling out together. We're not prey. We never were. We're the species that survived by making friends with monsters. We're the species that turned the most dangerous creatures on our world into family. And now those friends are going to help us show the galaxy the truth. Dae-sung raised his fist. The Vral want to broadcast our destruction? Good, let them. Let every species in the galaxy watch, because they're about to see what real strength looks like. The hangar erupted in cheers and howls. Human voices mixed with animal calls in a sound that was both ancient and new. The pack was ready. The Vral fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of Earth's solar system, exactly when they said they would. 300 warships, the largest invasion force humanity had ever faced. The sight of them was terrifying, like a swarm of angry metal insects blocking out the stars. On the bridge of the horizon's edge, Dae-sung watched them arrive. His ship was just one of 30 human vessels. They were outnumbered 10 to 1. The odds were impossible. But Dae-sung was smiling. Open all channels, he ordered Tae-min. I want the Vral to hear this. And make sure their broadcast is active. The whole galaxy should hear it too. Tae-min's fingers flew over his console. All channels open, Captain. The Vral are broadcasting to 40 billion viewers across the galaxy. Perfect. Dae-sung took a deep breath. Then he let out a sound he had been practicing for weeks. A howl, long, loud, and wild. The ancient call of a wolf pack. Around him, his crew joined in. From every ship in the human fleet, the howl echoed through space. And then from Earth below, from Mars, from Luna, from 100 hidden positions, thousands of voices answered, human and animal together, creating a sound that was both beautiful and terrifying. The howling lasted 30 seconds. When it stopped, Dae-sung spoke into the open channel. Vral fleet, you came here to destroy prey, but you made a mistake. Humans aren't prey. We're predators, and you just entered our hunting ground. The Vral commander's face appeared on the main screen. He was laughing. Predators, you? I've seen your ships. I've seen your pathetic weapons. You have nothing that can stop us. You're right, Dae-sung agreed calmly. Our ships can't stop you. Our weapons aren't enough. But we're not fighting alone. We never have been. He cut the transmission. All units, begin the hunt. What happened next made history. From Earth's atmosphere, hundreds of small craft launched. But they weren't alone. Clinging to the wings and hulls of each craft were raptors, their enhanced minds linked with their pilots. Eunji led the first wave. Her thoughts merged with 3 raptors who rode her fighter like ancient warriors rode horses. The Vral ships opened fire. But the human fighters moved like nothing the Vral had ever seen. They didn't fly in formation. They flew like a pack hunting together. Every ship knew where every other ship was without needing to communicate. The raptors calculated trajectories faster than computers, feeding that information directly to their pilots' minds. Eunji dove toward a Vral cruiser, her raptors releasing at the last second. They glided through space using small thrusters built into their harnesses, their claws extended. The Vral ship's hull was tough, but the raptors were stronger. They tore through sensors and weapon systems before launching back to Yoonji's fighter. Target disabled, she reported. Moving to the next one, the Vral tried to adapt. Their ships turned their weapons on the raptor teams, recognizing them as threats. But that was exactly what Earth's forces wanted. While the Vral focused on the small, fast targets, they didn't see the larger threat approaching. Boarding pods launched from the human fleet. Each pod carried a team of humans and wolves. The pods looked like normal military equipment. The Vral didn't think they were dangerous. They should have. Kyungsu's pod breached the hull of a Vral destroyer. The door blasted open and Beck was through it before the smoke cleared. The wolf moved like lightning, his enhanced strength letting him tear through the metal corridors. Kyungsu followed close behind. His thoughts linked with Bayek's, knowing exactly where the wolf was going and why. The Vral soldiers inside the ship tried to fight. They were strong, their scaled bodies like armor, but they had never fought an enemy that worked in perfect coordination. Baek would attack from one side, drawing fire and attention. Kyung-soo would strike from the other side. They moved like they shared one mind, because in a way they did. "Engineering secured," Kyung-soo reported. "Disabling their weapons." All across the battlefield, the same scene played out. Human ships were destroyed, yes. The Vral fleet was powerful. But for every human ship lost, 3 Vral ships were disabled or destroyed. The wolves were inside them, tearing through systems. The raptors were outside, shredding their sensors and weapons. The bears, massive and powerful, were boarding the larger ships and clearing them deck by deck. And the humans? The humans were coordinating everything. Their minds linked with their partners, fighting as one unified force. The Vral commander watched in disbelief from his flagship. "What is this? What are these creatures?" "They're our partners," Daesung answered, having reopened the channel. "They're our family. Something you'll never understand." "Partners? They're animals, beasts." "Yes, the beasts of Earth. And you made them very, very angry." Colonel Minji was leading the assault on the Vral flagship. Her team consisted of 20 soldiers and 20 wolves, but she had something else too. 4 enhanced bears, each one the size of a small vehicle, wearing armor and carrying humans on their backs. They breached the flagship's command deck. The Vral guards opened fire, but the bears' armor held. The wolves scattered, moving too fast to track. Minji's soldiers followed the wolves, trusting them to find the safest paths through the firefight. Kyung-soo and Bayek were there too. They had left their original ship to join the assault on the flagship. Together they fought their way to the command center. The Vral commander met them at the door. He was huge, even for a Vral, his scales scarred from 100 battles. He held a plasma blade that glowed with deadly heat. "You think you can defeat me with animals?" he growled. Kyung-soo felt Baek's response in his mind. Not anger, not hate, just determination. They moved together. The commander struck at Bayek, but the wolf was already somewhere else. Kyung-soo hit the commander from behind, his enhanced combat armor letting him match the alien's strength. The commander spun, fast for his size, and knocked Kyung-soo back. Baek leaped, his massive jaws closing on the commander's weapon arm. The commander roared and tried to shake him off. Kyung-soo recovered and struck again, this time at the commander's legs. They fought like that, human and wolf taking turns, giving each other openings. The commander was stronger than either of them alone, but together they were unstoppable. Finally, the commander fell. He looked up at Kyung-soo with something like shock in his eyes. "You fight alongside animals like they're equals," he said. "They are equals," Kyung-soo replied. "We're a pack, and you hurt our pack." Minji secured the command deck. "All teams, the flagship is ours." But then alarms started blaring. Taemin's voice came through, panicked. "Captain, the Vral ships are activating suicide protocols. They're all going to dive into Earth. They'd rather die than lose." Daesung's blood ran cold. 300 ships diving toward Earth at maximum speed. Even with most of them damaged, enough would get through to devastate the planet. Billions would die. "How long do we have?" he asked. 20 minutes. Not enough time. There was no way to stop them all. Daesung looked at Earth below, so beautiful and blue. He thought of Jiwoo, safe in a bunker but still in danger. He thought of all the people depending on him. Then Dr. Sung-ho's voice came through on an emergency channel. "Captain, activate Protocol Titan." "The Titans?" Daesung had almost forgotten. "They're ready?" "They're ready. And they're very hungry." Deep in Earth's oceans, 3 massive shapes began to move. They had been sleeping, waiting for this moment. Now they rose from the depths. The Pacific Titan emerged first, breaking the surface in a spray of water 100 meters high. It looked like something from ancient nightmares. A shark the size of a building, but changed, enhanced, armored with living metal. It had been engineered for one purpose, to fight in space. The Atlantic and Arctic Titans followed, each one unique, each one deadly. They launched themselves from the ocean using powerful thrusters built into their armor. They moved through space like they moved through water, natural and perfect. The Vral ships diving toward Earth suddenly had new problems. The Pacific Titan hit the first group of ships like a battering ram. Its jaws closed on a cruiser and tore it apart. Its tail swept through space, smashing 2 more ships into debris. The other Titans joined the fight. They were fast, faster than ships that size should be. They were smart too, their enhanced brains understanding tactics and targeting. But most importantly, they were bonded with human handlers, coordinators who guided them without controlling them. Together, the Titans tore through the Vral suicide fleet. Ship after ship fell before them. Some Vral vessels tried to fight back, but their weapons barely scratched the Titan's armor. Dae-sung watched in awe as the giant creatures saved his world. How is this possible? Hana was at his side reading data from the Titans. They're magnificent. The genetic engineering is perfect. They're living beings fighting to protect their pack. 50 ships got past the Titans diving toward Earth's atmosphere, but they never made it to the ground. Every enhanced creature on Earth was waiting. Wolves coordinated ground-to-air defenses. Raptors guided missiles with perfect accuracy. Bears operated heavy weapons. Great Cats ran calculation support. The last Vral ship crashed into an empty desert, its crew already gone. The Battle of Sol was over. In his command chair, the Vral commander lay dying, his flagship captured and destroyed. Kyung-soo sat nearby, Beck's head resting on his lap. 3 months after the Battle of Sol, the Galactic Council chamber was packed. Every species in the Union had sent representatives. They all wanted to see this. Ambassador Yuna walked to the center of the chamber with quiet confidence. Behind her walked Hana and a single dire wolf. The other ambassadors shifted nervously. They had all watched the battle. They knew what those creatures could do. The wolf, one of Bayek's offspring named Sul, sat calmly beside Hana. The medical officer's hand rested on the wolf's head, and anyone watching could see the bond between them. It wasn't master and pet. It was equals, friends, family. The council leader, a tall, crystalline being from the Nexar species, spoke first. Ambassador Yuna, the council wishes to formally apologize for our failure to assist Earth during the Vral crisis. Yuna nodded slightly. We accept your apology, but we also want answers. Why didn't you help us? New Jeju wasn't a military target. It was families, children, 40,000 innocent people murdered, and you called it natural selection. The chamber was silent. No one wanted to answer. Finally, an ambassador from the Quilics stood. The Quilics were a small, gentle species that had suffered under warrior races for generations. Her voice was soft but clear. Because we were afraid. The warrior species like the Vral control the council through fear. They make the rules. We pray species survive by staying quiet and not making trouble. That ends today, Yuna said firmly. Earth has been offered a seat on the inner council. We accept, but on one condition. Every prey species in this union gets equal representation and protection. No more looking the other way when strong species hurt weak ones. You dare make demands? A representative from one of the warrior species stood up, growling. You won one battle. That doesn't make you... Sul stood up and growled back. It was a deep, rumbling sound that made the entire chamber feel smaller. The warrior species representative sat down quickly. We're not making demands, Yuna continued calmly. We're stating facts. The galaxy watched Earth defend itself. They saw what happens when you push humans too far. 7 species have already contacted us asking to join what we're calling the Pack Protocol. Pack Protocol? The council leader asked. Hana stepped forward. A program to teach other species how to bond with their world's creatures. We've learned that humans aren't unique in having the capacity for these bonds. We're just the only ones who tried. The Quilics, the Denari, the Rixal, all of them have predators on their homeworlds. All of them have the genetic capability to bond with those predators. She activated a holographic display showing brain scans and genetic markers. The key is empathy and cooperation. Species that value these traits can form bonds with animals. Species that value only dominance and control cannot. It's that simple. An ambassador from the Denari species spoke up. You would share this technology? Help us become strong like you? Not technology, Yuna corrected. Partnership. And yes, we'll help. Because that's what packs do. We protect each other. We make each other stronger. The vote took 3 hours. In the end, the Pack Protocol was approved by a 2/3 majority. Earth would help 7 species learn to bond with their world's creatures. In return, those species would join Earth in defending each other from aggression. The warrior species were furious, but they couldn't argue. They had seen what Earth could do, and they weren't willing to risk finding out what 7 species fighting together could accomplish. After the vote, Yuna found Dae-sung waiting outside the chamber. He had been watching from the visitors' gallery. How does it feel to change the galaxy? He asked. Exhausting, she admitted with a smile. But good. How's Jiwoo? See for yourself. They walked to one of the station's observation decks. Jiwoo was there with her brother Hyunwoo playing with a young wolf pup. The pup was only 3 months old but already as big as a normal adult wolf. It rolled on its back while Jiwoo giggled and scratched its belly. That's Buell, Daesung said, born in the Genesis vault after the battle. Jiwoo has been visiting him every day. They're bonding naturally. Yuna watched the little girl who had lost everything slowly healing through her connection with the pup. The next generation will grow up with this. It'll be normal for them. That's the idea. Across the station in a research lab, Hana was presenting her findings to scientists from 3 different species. Her research on human-animal bonding had become the most requested paper in galactic history. Everyone wanted to understand how it worked. The bond creates a feedback loop, she explained, showing brain scans. The human releases chemicals associated with love, trust, and protection. The enhanced animal's modified brain responds with loyalty, cooperation, and shared awareness. Over time, the connection becomes so strong that they can anticipate each other's needs and thoughts. A Quilic scientist raised her hand. But why only humans? Why can't we do this? You can, Hana said. Genetic analysis shows your species has all the same markers. You just never tried. Your predators scared you, so you hid from them. Humans scared our predators too, but we decided to try anyway. And we found that most of them didn't want to hurt us. They wanted family, pack, community, just like we did. The scientists began talking excitedly among themselves. Hana smiled. This was just the beginning. On Earth, the Genesis Vault had become a diplomatic site. Representatives from the Quilics arrived to see the creatures and learn about the bonding process. Dr. Sung-ho personally gave them the tour. These are the dire wolves, he said, showing them a pack of 50 animals playing in a large habitat. Bonded with human partners, they form the core of our defensive units. But they're also companions, friends. Some of them sleep in their partners' homes. They play with human children. They're part of our families. A Quilics ambassador watched a huge wolf gently take a toy from a human toddler's hand and bring it back. The contrast between the creature's obvious power and its careful gentleness was striking. We have apex predators on our world too, she said softly. Great hunting cats. We've always feared them. Hid in our cities. But maybe they're lonely too, Sung-ho finished. Maybe they want pack just like wolves did. There's only one way to find out. In the following weeks, the Quilics began their own program. It started small with volunteers and carefully selected cats. The first bonding took 6 weeks, much longer than human-wolf bonds. But when it finally happened, when a Quilics handler and a great cat connected for the first time, something beautiful occurred. The handler cried. The cat purred. And both of them knew they had found something they had been missing their whole lives. News of the successful Quilics bonding spread through the prey species worlds like wildfire. If they could do it, maybe everyone could. Maybe the galaxy didn't have to be divided into strong and weak, predator and prey. Maybe there was another way. The warrior species watched these developments with concern. The Vral Empire, what was left of it, was silent. They had lost 2/3 of their fleet in the Battle of Sol. Many of their colonies had declared independence. The survivors were too busy trying to hold their empire together to threaten anyone. But other warrior species were taking notice. Not with hostility, but with something that looked like respect. 6 months after the battle, Daesung received an unexpected message. The Drexen, one of the galaxy's most powerful warrior races, requested a meeting. They wanted to learn about the pact protocol. Daesung met their ambassador on a neutral station. The Drexen was tall and armored, built for war. But his eyes were curious, not hostile. We watched your battle, the Drexen said. We saw something we've never seen before. You won not through superior strength or better weapons, but through cooperation, through bonds with other species. That's correct, Daesung replied. We Drexen have no such bonds. We dominate our world through strength. But I wondered, the ambassador paused, what if we're missing something? What if strength and cooperation aren't opposites? Daesung thought about that. They're not. The strongest packs are the ones where every member trusts each other completely, where everyone watches everyone else's back. That takes strength, just a different kind than you're used to. The Drexen was quiet for a long time. Would you teach us? And so the pact protocol expanded again. 1 year after the Battle of Sol, Earth's transformed solar system had become a hub of activity. Ships from dozens of species came to learn, to trade, to build alliances. The Genesis Vault trained handlers from 7 different species now. The success rate was high. Turns out the capacity for bonding with animals was common across many species. Only fear and pride had stopped them from trying. Daesung stood on the bridge of the horizon's edge, preparing for a new mission. His crew had expanded. Hana was still his medical officer. Taemin ran communications. But now they also had Yunji as their chief pilot, Kyung-soo as security chief, and a full complement of enhanced creatures. "Where are we going, Captain?" Taemin asked. Daesung smiled. "The frontier. Beyond explored space. We're going to see what's out there." "Just us?" Hana asked. "Just us and about 50 of our closest friends." He gestured to the biodome where wolves, raptors, and several cats were settling in for the journey. As the ship prepared to launch, Jiwoo came running up to the bridge. She was 10 now, growing tall and confident. Bayul followed her, now fully